Welcome everyone to the TALonline webinar. My name is Sarah Dixon and I'm a Client Services Librarian here at YRL. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in on the right side where you see the little box for GoToWebinar, and I will take a look periodically to see if there are any questions. You can also wait till the end to ask questions, whatever you prefer. Also, this webinar will be recorded and available on our website as well in the next week or so. But let's actually get started. So the first thing I want to do is explain the difference between when you are going to be using TrackPack, TALonline, and Me Libraries. So TrackPack is what you see in Polaris. It's all of TRAC's items, so it can be sent to your library through TRAC. If you can't find it on TrackPack and your patron wants it, that's when you would go to TALonline, and it's showing all Alberta libraries. So if TRAC doesn't have it, it's worth looking on TALonline afterwards, but it's very important to look at TrackPack first and then to go on TALonline. And then lastly, Me Libraries. Me Libraries is for going to other libraries in Alberta, public libraries, but it's actually for physically going into the libraries, and then you can use your card at those libraries. But if you want something that's outside of TRAC from an Alberta library to come to you, you're going to be using TALonline. Okay, so to access TALonline, you can either enter in the address talonline.ca, or you can access it from our website, which is under Search, the Alberta Library, and then you would go to TALonline Catalog, and then it brings you right to this page. So it's very similar to when you're searching in TrackPack, but it's really important currently, and it's something that should change soon. It's kind of hard to tell if, when you're searching for something in TALonline, if we have it in TRAC. So it's always important as a first step to search TRAC. Obviously, patrons can use TALonline and not like come into the library to use it, so they might not realize they need to check TRAC. So it's something that YRL is kind of keeping an eye on until this update happens. But I'm just going to show you, we're going to do one search, and the first search we're going to do actually is for an item that TRAC actually has, and you'll see how you can kind of tell that it is available in TRAC. So I'm going to search for Dogged Pursuit by Robert Rowdy. And so if I look down, I can see Dogged Pursuit. This one is by Lee Charles Kelly. And then if we keep going down, we can see Dogged Pursuit by Robert Rowdy. But it's a little bit hard to tell. If we go on View Details, if you go scroll down, it doesn't actually list a TRAC library, so it makes you think that TRAC doesn't have it, and so you can place a hold. But if you actually scroll down and look on the right-hand side, if you look under Library Catalog, it will say TRAC. So that's how you can tell if TRAC has it currently. There will be an update at some point, and they are working on it so that it's very obvious that TRAC has it. But right now, this is how you would know. So again, it's very important to double check or to check and TRAC first if you're helping the patron. But when we're looking at through VDX at all of the holds, it will tell us if it's available in TRAC, and then we just cancel the hold and we'll let your library know so you can contact the patron and place the hold in TRAC instead. But if I click on TRAC, it shortens the list. It was originally 27 available items, and now it's only 6. And then if I scroll down, I can see Dogged Pursuit by Robert Rowdy. And again, if I view details, it's not going to say it's in TRAC, but because I limited it to TRAC before, it's showing that this copy is available in TRAC. So then we would want to go into TRAC instead and search for the item. And so this is the item by Robert Rowdy, and I'd place a request this way instead. But now let's look for something that we've already searched for in TRAC. It wasn't there, and so we want to place a hold on it for our patron. So I'm going to be looking for the title 6 Years at the Russian Court, and I'm going to hit search. And the author is M. Eager. And so again, if I scroll down just to double check the library catalog, it does not say track here. And then if we want to look at more information, we can click on view details and see if everything matches. So in this case, it's a smaller record. There's not so many details. And you can see the physical location. So this is available at the U of A. So if this was the right title and we want to request it, we would then click on request item. And then we're going to choose our library, and you can either scroll down or type it in. It's a little faster to type it in. So I'm just going to choose one of our libraries, and then I'm going to type in a barcode. And then my PIN, and then I'd hit place request. And so it's letting me know my patron information, my email address, more details about the title that I'm requesting. And then I get to choose my pickup location. So I'm going to leave it at Winfield. And if I have certain comments. So if, for example, you need the book within 3 weeks or 5 weeks, and if it's after that, then you don't need it, then it's probably good to put in a comment saying, I need this by September 15th. If it comes afterwards, cancel the hold. So just important to kind of put details in there. There's other details you'll want to put in there as well. For example, if it's a music CD and you're looking for a particular song, it's always a good practice to add a comment saying I'm looking for this particular song, just to ensure that it has that song on the CD. And then you would just hit confirm request. And it's letting me know that the request has been placed. So if I wanted, I could print this if you keep track of it at your library. It's up to you. But you can also just look it up for the patron. So if you want to see what all of your ILL requests are, or all of the particular patrons' ILL requests, you would just click on My ILL Requests. And then again, we'll just type in the library and then the barcode again. And then check status. And so it's letting me know that I have a request for 6 years at the Russian court. If there were other requests that I had placed before, it would let me know that as well. It doesn't give you more details, though, about the status of the request. It's just saying that these are your requests. But it is nice for a patron, if they're unsure if they've placed the request before, you can look at it here. So I'm just going to log out. Now I'm just going to show you more advanced searches. So I'm going to go back to search. And instead of just searching up at the top, you can go to advanced search. And this is really handy for books that have very common words in their titles. Sometimes you'll get hundreds and hundreds of bib records coming up. So I think it's always a good practice, if that's the case, if you have more information, you can enter in multiple fields. So title, author, subject, and ISBN. So you can choose any of the fields and you can enter in multiple fields. So we have this title and track, but I just wanted to show you as an example. So let's say we were looking for After You by Jojo Moyes. If I just searched After You, I'd get hundreds and hundreds of requests or options, and now it's only going to show me a much smaller list, and it's all going to be After You by Jojo Moyes, whether or not it's large print or an audio book or a regular book, depends. And you can actually look under subject if you were looking for specifically audiobooks or what have you, and same with the type. You can look at that too. And you can see here under library catalog that track has this as well. So again, we wouldn't place the hold because track has it, but that's kind of how you would do an advanced search. Are there any questions before we move on? Okay. So the other things you can do, I'm just going to show you the other tabs at the top. Most of the time you're pretty much sticking to search, but you can also look at the about just to kind of find out about this new website. And then there's also instructions on how to use TALonline. So it walks you through how to search, how to request items, required information for the requests, what to enter in, and so on and so forth. So this can be very useful if you are forgetting how to search or you're having difficulty searching and not finding what you're looking for. Also, it's good to look at updates just to see, like, for example, with it not being very obvious right now on whether or not Track has a particular item, it might be good just to check the updates every once in a while to see if that has resolved itself, because it will probably be listed as one of the updates. And then my ILL requests I had shown you before. So just to wrap up, please remember to bookmark or type in this new one and then maybe save it as a favorite, talonline.ca, as it has changed. So you want to have the new one. Also, again, I had mentioned if you wanted a specific song, put that information in the TALonline request. And there are no charges for items from the U of A. If you need something that you couldn't find on Track and you couldn't find on TALonline, it doesn't mean that you can't get it. It might be available elsewhere in Canada. So if that's the case, if you've searched Track and you've searched TALonline and nothing's come up, you can send an email to query, that's QUERY@yrl.ab.ca with as much details as possible. So name, author, if you have the ISBN, any details you can have, and then we'll actually broker it through Chinook Arch, and so they'll look for it outside of Alberta. But let us know then if you're willing to accept a fee, if there is a fee for getting that item, since it is coming from outside of Alberta. But nothing that you search for in TALonline should cost you money because it is coming from within Alberta. Also now, if you are looking for a particular article in a journal, you will need to go through us and send us an email at query@yrl.ab.ca as well. So if you're searching for a specific article and it's not coming up, just send us an email to query, and because currently it doesn't have that detailed information beyond the journals. And that's about everything. So are there any other questions before we wrap up? This is a nice and quick webinar. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or phone me afterwards. Thank you all for attending this webinar. And if you wouldn't mind, please complete the evaluation before closing out of the webinar. Thank you so much.